we're in the same boat as the disciples at times. But what is Jesus' response when he is awakened? We'll see that in verse 40. But he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith?" He's telling them, you've seen the things that I've done. You know who I am, don't you? Don't you know who I am? After he rebukes the storm, he rebukes his disciples. Fear and faith are incompatible. You might expect Jesus to be compassionate here, thinking after all, they're just human. But no. He is stern with them. Why so fearful? Why no faith? It could be because, the disciples were thinking, well, I don't know, if we're right in the middle of a raging storm, folks filling up with water, what are we going to do? The boat's violently pitching. It's swamping, starting to sink. They probably thought they were going to drown. And they're probably thinking, don't you think we have a right to be anxious here? I mean, look what's surrounding us right now. This mighty storm. But Jesus, knowing what they had seen him do in the past, should have provided a stronger faith in the future and in the present. But that was not the case. So first, Jesus had to calm the storm. And we see he had to calm his disciples. Has God ever done anything like that for you? Have you ever had to calm the storm and then calm you? I know he has me. Many times. I get scared. I start doubting. I don't know what I'm going to do at times. God has never done anything that he hadn't had already planned for you. He has solved any problems or any prayers. His faithfulness is unquestionable. So, we know God's going to be with us in any storm. He's going to weather that storm with us. He's going to pull us through that storm. He has a plan for each and every one of us. He has a plan. We have to trust in that plan. No doubting can ever come into our mind. When we read God's Word, that doubt goes away. Lesson 3, we know Jesus will calm the storm. Looking back at verse 39, then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. At the perfect time, during the perfect storm, he exercises his great power, his perfect power over the storm. And he will do the same in your life. He is not in a hurry because there's no reason for him to be in a hurry. Because his time is the perfect time. Even though at times we may not think that it's the right time, because it's not our time. Right? He's not doing it when we think we need it. Right now, instant gratification is what we're always looking for. But Jesus knows what we need. He knows when we need it. At just the right time, not the right time as far as the disciples were concerned, but just at the right time. Jesus stood up and calmed the storm. God has all of us in mind. He had the disciples in mind. He knows and understands you and your situation. He cares for you, and his timing is perfect. And in Romans 5, verse 6, still without strength. In due time, Christ died for the ungodly. In due time. In His time. Not our time. It's in His time. He's always watching out for us. Peter wrote in 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 12, "For the eyes of the Lord are on the righteous, and His ears are open to their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil." Goes back to preparation. We have to be prepared. Praying, reading, obeying, and repenting. It is only in the storm that we truly understand who Jesus is. And we're just awestruck by the things He can do. The most amazing part of this story is the disciples' reaction to Jesus. When Jesus asked them why they were afraid. But when Jesus calms the storm, the Bible tells us in verse 41, "And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, 'Who can this be, that even the wind and the sea obey Him?'" They feared exceedingly. They were scared to death. They just thought they were afraid before in the storm. Now they've seen something that they have never seen before, never thought they had ever witnessed before. They were terrified. They feared exceedingly. Their fear for the storm was nothing compared to what they just witnessed. They just now realized who was really in that boat with them. It is the one thing to be in a boat with someone that you believe was sent from God. To be a great teacher or a spiritual leader is quite another thing. To be confined in a small space with one that you suddenly realize is God, is the Lord of the universe. Could you imagine what they were feeling at that moment? God in the flesh is standing right before my eyes. They realized who He really was. Throughout Mark's Gospel, the disciples, as well as others, kept coming to new understandings of who Jesus is. And as always, in the context of some kind of crisis. This is true for us as well. We keep meeting Jesus in new ways. We meet Him in new crises. We don't really understand who He is or the power He really has until we see Him in action, until He pulls us out of the bottom of that pit that we've been struggling in for so long. And that's when we finally realize who Jesus Christ is and what Jesus Christ did for us. In 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 through 7, "In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, many be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ." Our faith is more precious than gold. Gold perishes, but our faith is more valuable. It is in our crisis moments, in our storms, that we really understand who Jesus is. If you place your complete faith and trust in Him, you will have a greater understanding, a deeper relationship with Him, and a new love for Him that you've never experienced before when that storm is over. Whenever He pulls you out, and you can finally breathe again, and He gives you peace. Peace that you cannot find on this earth, but only peace that is found in Him. You will see His power over darkness. and you will experience and see and feel His love for you. Jesus is telling us to live by faith, not in fear. Live for Jesus Christ, and to not live in fear anymore. You don't have to doubt anymore. You don't have to doubt who He is. Storms come and go. But Jesus Christ is forever. If you don't know Jesus, if you don't know who He is, if you don't know His full power, the ability to calm a storm, to command the storm to be still, and to calm the waves, you can't. He wants to be with you in your storms. He wants to pull you out of whatever it is you're going through. You can weather the storms with Christ, and only with Christ. You can have the true peace that you see, that is found in only Him. He will bring you through whatever trials or tribulations you may be facing. Christ is the only way.